All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to vlog number 3. It's Roxanne to talk to you about Not the Color Purple by Audrey Thompson. So, some of the purpose, I think, of this text is definitely to inform the reader, especially white female theorists or white female readers, since a lot of times those are the people who have been the voices of feminism. And especially being a lot of teachers. I think Thompson wants to reach the audience that is the one who has the most interaction with children. And I think some of the ways that she describes this definitely helps us understand why a lot of theories are based on the white perspective. And when she talks about how the white normative claims to be colorblind, and in this, she's referencing also Carol Gilligan, The Challenge to Care, right? The Ethics of Caring, which we have read and talked about. But that comes from a really white perspective, or by kind of saying this is the norm, but not acknowledging that different people of different colors have different experiences. So I think that was the main purpose for us to understand that it's not valuable to be colorblind because you're not acknowledging the factors that are that people who are experiencing challenges are going through, and just kind of saying, well, I treat everyone the same. So that definitely is significant to me, because even like growing up, I remember my grandmother saying, you treat everyone the same no matter who they are, whether they're the president or the janitor, right? You treat everyone the same. And she grew up like, depression, poor, working since she was 13. So that always seemed like, the best way to interact with people, right? To treat everyone equally. But I think this definitely, makes me rethink, well, is it equitable to treat everyone the same? Should some people be given different interactions? I don't know. Especially when we're thinking of school, right? As a teacher, sometimes obviously it can be challenging to talk about race with a room of students because a lot of times they do have different values and have different perspectives, or what their parents might be saying. So sometimes, we have to set ground rules and make sure the discussion doesn't get too personal where, kids start to argue. It's only happened once or twice when I've tried to talk about race. Usually it's a white person who says, why do we have to talk about this? So it's kind of that idea of it's a privilege as a white person to choose not to think about race. And so I think definitely Thompson helps us realize that and points it out that a lot of theories are based in the white experience, and saying that all people, doesn't matter what color you are, that it really minimizes their experience, and that makes people different. When she references the color purple, right, also talking about how womanist is to feminism as lavender is to purple. I think, looking at the differences between historical feminist theories in light of realizing, wow, maybe those were really singular views, right, and not representative of women, especially regarding women who are not considered white. I thought it was really important that we do understand, just like Thompson says, understanding some of the experiences, some of the theoretical points that African American or Black theorists, especially women, have to offer, because it has been something that has not been as accessible. I know a lot of theorists that I've read in the past in college were either white men or white women. And so, by having your work published, one would think you need to be a PhD or a master's program. And so there's sometimes a lot of barriers, right, that have been set up to basically silence people who don't go along with the childlike, docile behavior that white women are seeming so willing to perform in as a way to maintain their social hierarchy power. Yes. All right. This definitely makes me think how to empower and enforce social justice conversations with my students. During February, we definitely talked about being Spanish speakers of all parts of the world and how that could be every shade of brown, of melanin. But it's interesting too, where we even talked about how people who are called black don't identify as black, but maybe identify as brown, right? They say, oh, my skin doesn't look like black. And so just that idea of being very specific with the color, like the child who drew the adult in purple but wanted to make sure his color was the right shade of brown. And so it's kind of showing that that is important for kids and not something that we should just minimize and pretend isn't there. So I thought it was really valuable and ways that I can rethink education and feminism, just to kind of question, right, the theories that we read and say, okay, well, when was this written, right? What was the experience of the author? So I think it is important that we are able to experience and read and find out, the experiences of not just the white theorist. So the second point that she makes, not only, reading and learning about Black theorists, but also being able to do a little research and do some readings of African American authors. And I noticed that I was editing a quiz for my Spanish quiz yesterday, and I was looking for a word to fill into a sentence, and the word was, leemos Harry Potter. And I just wanted to change it to something more, interesting. So I looked up Black female writers, authors, and I realized that a lot of them were older authors, people I've read in high school, but, Alice Walker and a lot of authors who were writing about their experiences in the 60s and 50s. And I think, that is super valuable, but also that I have a lot of, reading to do to read current Black authors. One book that I've read, the book I ended up using for the quiz was the Hate You Give, which I'm sure a lot of us have heard of, but I just wanted to have something that was, not just a white English normative, we all read Harry Potter. I didn't read Harry Potter, so maybe that's why. I don't know. And then the last point that Thompson makes about the relationships in our daily lives, right? She mentions, how big is your world? So do you have Black friends? Do you have Asian friends? Do you interact in different social worlds? Who comes over to your house? Who do you go out to dinner with? And then definitely how Sunday at church is, right, the most segregated hour in the week, I've heard it said. And so, how big is your world? Who are you interacting with? Who are you sharing faith and values and culture with? Because a lot of times we don't talk about that, or we don't cross paths, and it can lead to challenging conversations. But I think in line with Gilligan's challenge to care, Thompson points out that, there's more to saying all children are the same, that we should also honor the experiences of children who have different experiences than especially the mainly white female teachers. So, I'm glad that this inspired me to think of feminism and come up with maybe new ideas about theories that are reflective of Black authors and theorists. And I was glad to look that she has a really long bibliography reference page. It's like 8 pages long, so I'm sure there's some gems on there. She also has some nice annotated bibliographies, which is cool to read, because then you want to check it out even more. So thanks for listening. Not the color purple, perhaps the color lavender or something else. A nice, beautiful shade of brown. All right, thank you for listening, and I will see you all later. Bye.